Live. Hello, everyone. We
Yeah,
promised to broke everything. We broke everything. It's very good. Hi, Ben. Nice to meet you here. Ben, as
yeah.
I
Nice to
said,
meet you.
I don't know where we broke, but as I said, this is a CNCF official event, so respect the CNCF code of conduct to everyone. And as we have here a great guy, Ben, Vice President of R&D of Armo, and we broke the security of Kubernetes and show to us the code. Ben, thank you so much to join us today.
Thank you for having me.
Let's go. Break everything.
Yeah, let's go for it. Hi. So, are you Bo? Do you see my screen?
Oh, not yet, but will. Hello, Tunisia. Nice to meet you with us here. Let's wait a little
Yeah.
bit.
Hello, guys.
Oh, we are going. Just a minute. Let. S- oh, just a minute there. Hacking, hack easily. Oh, I will be more. Hacking is illegal. FBI,
Yeah.
CIA, etc. Good. Hello, Mongolia. Nice to meet you. Thank you for joining us today.
Oh,
Hi,
Mongolia.
guys. Bruno Kaufman, my friend. Nice to meet you here. Thank you so much. Let's. Oh man, let's learn how break not how not break Kubernetes
Awesome.
with Ben. One
Yeah.
moment, please. We can show the
Yeah.
screen
Yeah.
in
Just tell
any
me when
moment.
to start, and I will start here.
You can start. Let's go.
Yeah. Do you see
Let's go.
my
No,
screen?
not yet. Please.
I
Let me see.
think that I'm doing.
Libby.
I'm resharing my screen. Just give me nod if it's being shared.
Oh, for me not. I don't know. Got it, Libby. Please. Oh, I'm not seeing it. Let me check the if it is on Twitter. Okay. Oh, you cannot. Okay, we are facing a little problem with the streaming restream. Uh, let's wait a little bit more, please.
Oh,
Oh no,
awesome.
great, awesome.
Very great. So, hi guys. I'm really glad to be here. Especially, I'm so glad that I see people here from Italy and Mongolia and really from the States, and I really appreciate you having me here and also appreciate your attention. Um, so, so what we are going to talk today, I'm going to show you our take on attacking Kubernetes. I'm going to show you a few simple attacks here around, and let's jump into it. So, just Paulo said, I'm Ben. I'm VP R&D at Armo, and just for you to know, I'm a white hat hacker for really long time, and I love hacking and just as much as I love Kubernetes, and we all love Kubernetes and cloud native, and there's no no denial that Kubernetes and cloud native at all is a big success, and with the big success in the security world, comes the attacks actually, but because once you become a key player, then you're becoming a target for many attacks. And I just brought here a few examples. Happened only in the past few months of attacks on Kubernetes. And you know as a white hacker, I always think that we have power and Kubernetes has a great power, and with the great powers comes great responsibility. So I know that I saw here that someone was concerned about, the legality of of hacking. We are hacking Kubernetes, and we are doing stuff in order to make things better. And I also encourage everyone, to report issues to the Kubernetes teams, relevant Kubernetes teams, if they found something else, just as I did before. So what an attacker can wants from a Kubernetes cluster and Kubernetes system, you might want to steal data, and here I'm talking about not just stealing data, necessarily directly from the Kubernetes from a pod, but stealing data using the credentials that has been stolen for a Kubernetes cluster. So think about all the you know cloud credentials you are having in your cluster, in your different objects, and also in your file systems. So each of them can be an attack vector and a mean of stealing more data. Also, Kubernetes cluster can be used to gain computational resources. So it can be it is it's interesting attack vector. Today, that when people are looking for computational resources in order to do some Bitcoin mining and stuff like that, to use data Kubernetes in order to gain such computational resources. We've been starting to hear in the security community about ransomware in and around Kubernetes. People are locking out administrators and locking data in order um, to have some financial gain. And it's a real threat. And also, we're, as just I told you that before, that any service provider is also can be a victim of denial of service attacks, and bringing down a Kubernetes cluster can be a really big problem. So these things that occur may want when we are looking into a Kubernetes environment. So my story today, I always like to tell a framing story here around these in these talks, and our story begins with Google's online boutique microservices demo application, which is we are calling it Hipster Shop, and because it was the old name, and we have Hipster Shop running in GKE, in Google's own Kubernetes solution. And this is a online application, a web shop, which is running with Kubernetes, and it has some security measures in place. So containers are scanned for vulnerabilities before uploading. We have installed Falco in this cluster. And this is the point of start for our discussion. So this is when the attacker is going to start to work. And just in order to enable you to focus on this whole talk, on this demonstration, and I will stop here and there to review questions and try to answer during the time, to answer your questions in place. But my attack has been broken to several smaller attacks. I'm going to install a malware, or get the operators of this Kubernetes cluster in order to install malware in their cluster. Then I'm going to use this malware to get into the pod of the victim. Then I'm going to steal the service account from this pod, and from remotely, not from the Kubernetes cluster, but from remotely, I'm going to use the service account to identify myself against the API server, and start to communicate with the API server from outside the cluster. And then I'm going to start to steal secrets from your Kubernetes cluster, and and after it we are going to exit to the worker node and steal more interesting things from there. So this is up until now, and let's jump into the first attack vector, which is actually
Ben,
the yeah. Sorry, Paul, have you asked something?
so yeah, just one thing. Our friend Ibrahim asked if you talk about any attacks over the OS hosting from the Kubernetes addressing. You covered this kind of attack today.
So not so we are going to exit to the OS level at the end, but at the beginning we are focusing only from the Kubernetes layer in this
Okay.
attack. So it's more
Okay.
more of
Perfect.
that. So
Thanks.
sure. And again, just ask me questions during the time, and I will stop for answering. Um, so let's say that for now I'm taking the hat of the operator of this solution, and as the operator I'm opening my Slack one morning, and I see that with first obviously I'm in the Kubernetes channel, but I return to my home channel, and I see that my friend just sent me that in the microservices demo there is a new version, and I'm pretty glad because I usually I love new versions of the software because they are usually better. And I go to the GitHub and I see that, well, this must be a very good and very nice and very good version. And I'm as the operator I'm a little bit maybe I use to scan the vulnerabilities for the images I'm installing in my Kubernetes cluster. So I'm going into this public repository at Quay.io, which has just scanned this image. And I see that it's a pretty good scan result. Okay, the Quay security scanner has not detected any vulnerabilities in this image. So as the operator right now, I'm pretty fine with installing this new version from this public repository, and what I'm going to do now is just before, well, I've got disconnected maybe from Kubernetes, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my solution, which is working here. You can see the online boutique is up and running, and I can see my workloads here also running smoothly. And from my control shell, what I'm going to do is I'm going to patch this service. I'm going to install this version 0.2.2 of this front end, and we'll see what is going to happen. I've updated with this new version my deployment, and the new version started to work. And I'm the operator coming here doing some checks, and well, it's still working. I'm still able to buy stuff in the boutique, so I feel fine and I go to sleep now. And
Ben, sorry
now
for
the
interrupting you. Ben,
yeah,
sorry for interrupting you again. But when you put in your show, you can increase a little bit your character size because it's thin a little bit.
this one
Just yes, a little bit more. Uh,
I I'm not. I think I'm already the largest. Um, I'm not sure that maybe the lights theme is better.
oh,
Do you think it's better?
oh no, come back to black. I think that's
So, yeah, I
it's
also like it
better.
dark.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay. It's not okay. No problem. And please, if you possible, could you put your name, your Twitter account? People are
sure.
asking. Thanks so
Yeah,
much.
sure. If it's okay,
Sorry, sorry.
I will do it at the end. Okay, just don't want to switch screens if it's okay. Um,
Okay, thank you so much. Sorry
so
for interrupting you.
what's happened here behind the scenes is that I'm as an attacker. Um, I'm switching, my hats, and I'm the attacker. I was able to add a backdoor into the new version of this front end component here. So actually, my code as an attacker is started to run in your cluster. Now you can say that, well, I someone took it from a public repository, but there was endless examples in the last even in the last month of tainted images in public repositories, and everyone who's worried about cybersecurity and reading about cybersecurity, I guess Tolo, you also heard about the SolarWinds attack, which is what we call was supply chain attack, and exactly this is what it is. What I'm showing you that I published malware enabled a version of a public component in a public container repository, and I got someone to install it. So now what's happening at the next step? The next step is that the next step, as an attacker, okay, I'm going to connect my backdoor. Okay, so I hope the text is better here. So I'm going to connect this IP, okay, which is actually the public IP of this web shop at this service port, and I'm going to connect, okay. Do you see my font? Is it okay? I'm going to connect my backdoor within this service, which looks totally legit. And what I can show you that I've opened a reverse shell in the pod. What you see here that through a TCP connection, I've opened a connection against the service. I've added my own request path and connected my backdoor, which was embedded in this new version. So right now you see that I've opened this. If you want, I see that people still want even bigger text. I'm going to just put something even. Okay. So I was able to connect my malware, and right now I'm running a process within the pod. I've opened the reverse shell, so I have an access to the system, to the pod inside, and when I'm inside, I can do different things as an attacker. Daniel asked what service permitted this. So this is not really a service. Again, we have taken a legit application and added a malware to that legit application. Okay, and someone installed this version, this malware version of this application, because it was pushed into a public repository, and no containers can reveal the actual problem with the image. Okay, so actually what is running here is the front-end application, which you can see also in the microservices demo GitHub at Google. And what I'm going to show you that beyond just looking into the files, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to take one very, very interesting file here. This very interesting file is, wait a second, this doesn't look good, right? This, okay. So this file is the service account token. Okay, service account token is actually the secret running a secret which has been mapped into the Kubernetes pod. Wait a second. Okay, so service account token is actually the secret which is used by the Kubernetes pod, which wants to connect the Kube API and make requests to Kube API. This token is used to authenticate this pod against the Kube API. So it's essentially it's like authentication, a password or authentication secret, as you will. And this is used, okay, by Kubernetes in order to authenticate services. Now, what I'm going to do here, as I'm going as an attacker, I'm going to take this service account token. Okay, I'm returning to my cloud shell, okay, which can be any other shell from the world, okay, and I'm taking this token and I'm going to use it later. And beyond that, the token, okay, I'm also taking something else, which is a certificate. CACRT, yeah. So this is also the certificate which is used for communicating with the API server, and I'm copying it just as I did with the service account token, exiting now, and that's just disconnected from the pod. So yeah, there is a really good question here. So are all service account tokens mounted in the pod in this way automatically by Kubernetes? Yes, Alice. The question by Alice is really good. So Kubernetes mounts these service account tokens into the pod. I didn't do any explicit mount here. And every Kubernetes pod has a service account by default, which is the namespace service account. And you can see it in the pod, but you can tell Kubernetes not to mount this into your system. So yeah, returning to the place, I'm going to store my certificate. Also, I have an old certificate here. I'm just cleaning it up. And what I have here at this console right now, two things. Okay, sorry, two things here. Okay, one is the token. The second is the certificate. So I'm returning, to show you where we are in this whole scan. So we've opened the reverse shell and stolen the service account token, okay, from this pod. Now the interesting thing is that that service accounts are a way in Kubernetes to authenticate services within Kubernetes. Now the interesting part is that as of today, these tokens can be used from anywhere to authenticate against the Kube API server. So you don't necessarily need to be in the cluster. And why this is important? This is important because if I'm operating, within the system, I don't necessarily want to do it from within the system. As an attacker, it's way more easier for me to do it from the outside. I have to clean up less after myself, okay, doing that. Now let's just go into one. I see that we have a few questions here. So Walid Chari asks, I would imagine tokens should only be able to list view, not much harm unless RBAC is messed up. So it's a good point, okay? It depends on really, what are you doing, okay? There are public-facing pods. I mean, public-facing, pods which are, can be accessible from the public internet, which do have a service account which is meaningful. So by the default service account usually doesn't have any interesting authorizations in the RBAC system, but there are a lot which do. Okay, and while I really appreciate, that you're saying that the RBAC is messed up, uh, and I more or less I agree with you. But sometimes, for example, monitoring tools which are used from remotely to monitor systems usually need need a lot of authorizations, and they're also public facing, so it's a kind of a good target. In this case, okay, in this case, what we are going to do, we are going to use this service account token to start to talk to the Kubernetes API server. So there is a simple, prepared simple command here, which I want to, do a very fast walkthrough with you. So the interesting part is that I'm obviously I'm using curl in this case, but I've added a header, authorization header to the curl request authorization, where the bearer contains this token which we've just copied here. Okay, and I'm going to the API server host, which can be found more or less easily, and I'm turned to API v1 namespace is default bot. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to show you that using only curl and the service account token, while not running inside the Kubernetes cluster, I'm able to do to connect this the Kubernetes API server. So I just need to set up here the address is set API server, taking cluster. This is the IP of the API server from the outside world at port 443. Okay, and as you can see, I've just got a response using this token from the API server from the public internet, and not within inside the cluster. So it is also a small proof of concept. Okay, that you can start to operate against the API server using this token. As next stage, I'm going to show you, okay, that using this token, okay, and I agree with one of the questions. Obviously, the service account has privileges here in the system, but I'm able to start to dump Kubernetes secrets. So just as I did here, wait a second. I did my request here to pods. I'm just in the same way I can request secrets, okay, and I get answer, okay, from the Kube API. Also, I can go to the Hipster shop namespace, okay, and as you can see, I can look into what kind of secrets are residing here, okay, in this namespace, and I bump into AWS Access ID, okay, and this not just can be any kind of secret access ID or any kind of authentication token to other cloud services. So obviously, if someone starts to access your secrets from remote, it is a problem, and this is something you should be sure, okay, to avoid, okay. And I was able, to dump the secrets remotely, using only curl and this token. But also, I have other secrets here, like the recipe of Big Mac sauce, and here are the ingredients. So you have here a lot of stuff here taking from the API server.
Oh,
So
Ben. Ben,
Yeah.
sorry for interrupting. We have a question very interesting that is how you know the API server endpoint.
Yeah.
Of course,
So
you are talk about maintain or retain security key, and of course you can use it everywhere. Yeah, but to use it, you one thing you need is the door, and the door is the endpoint.
yeah,
So
that's a
this is
good
a
question.
good question.
Yeah. So okay, I didn't want to cover here because I didn't see it very interesting, in this talk, but there is an easy strategy. Okay, so scanning and crawling IPs, and more or less the IP ranges used by Google for Kubernetes API endpoints are pretty clear, and finding out which one is answering, taking my service account token, and agreeing, accepting it. It should be a rather small task to do, and maybe it can take up to a few hours to find out which one is the actual API server endpoint for me. But it shouldn't be a big task to find out. um,
But
and yeah.
our friend Valid ask you if you can show how much access you have in
Yeah,
your cluster. You ask it here.
yeah, I'm going to show it at the end, but I cannot.
Okay.
But obviously, valid. Okay, just as I told before. Obviously, this is a elevated service account. Okay, I don't have I'm I agree with you that obviously it has authorizations, but just think about any monitoring tool that monitors kube objects and even secrets against the kube API needs these authorization levels. So it's not really far-fetched to think that they do have this account. So this account do have elevated privileges, beyond the simple things. Um, so returning, okay, I've showed you that I've just was able to take the secrets and dump the secrets out. Now, as the last part, and we are getting to the last part of this remote attack, what I'm going to do is creating more persistency in the system, and in order to do that, I'm going to exit this pod, and not just I'm going to create a new pod in the system, okay, which is going to mount the host file system, and it's not going to be what we call a privileged pod. It only mounts the node file system, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take from there the private key and certificate of the Kubernetes node, which is used to authenticate the node against the Kubernetes management system. So as I told you, again, I still have these elevated privileges, and I just created a new namespace, and which is not really interesting. Just find things, and what I did is I've created a new deployment. Okay, just let me show you what we have here. So within this new deployment, okay, you have again the same curl request, more or less, again the same API server and host, and within this new namespace, which is called bed namespace, I've pushed. I created a new deployment, and just to show you, there is nothing really curious about this deployment, but what you have to what you need to see here, that there is a volume mount within this pod, mounted from the host, the root directory of the host, and you know, I'm going to connect this, and in order to start to look on the host. So let me see the questions. So do we have new questions?
There is one about Big Mac, but let's
yeah, the Big Mac one is the most
okay.
interesting one.
Let's put this in the end on then.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, it's going to be in the comment. So yeah, where were we? So this is the for me, you know, doing these tricks. You know, the interesting part was that I've never used the Kubernetes API directly beforehand from curl, and you know, here I started to use it from curl. And at this stage of the attack, you know, I want to start to execute processes from using this authentication mechanism, and in order to do that, you know, in the one hand I wanted to use curl, and in the other hand, you know, I need to connect the exec API of the pod in Kubernetes. Now, honestly, you know, I've never went this to this site, so for me, I'm sure that for most of the audience it's not, but for me it was new that to see that the exec API in Kubernetes is actually a WebSocket API. And you know, when I realized that, I saw that you know, doing WebSockets in curl is not a, you know, it's not an easy thing to do. So that's why I've just wrote myself a Python code, you know, which actually does this connection for me, you know, based on this authentication token. So I took some code from example code from our stuff. Okay, and the interesting part is here, more or less, you know, this line, okay, which I'm using here to create the configuration for the Python module in order to think that we are running inside the cluster. So I wouldn't call this an attack, but it's an interesting thing, you know, that to, you know, that you can convince your Python build the Kubernetes module that to take the token and certificate you want from a different place it usually takes, and then I'm connecting this Python module in order to execute commands on the destination pod. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to get the pod name for us, which was bad name space namespace is pods grep name. Okay, so I have this nginx deployment name here. So I have here another thing here. So what we are going to do here is start to look on this pod which has mounted this volume, and we are running it in bad name space. This is the pod name, and I want to see what's within do we have in this directory. Okay, so we are missing the certificate. Just give me a minute. So export certificate. So we don't have, okay, we have, our hosts are not working. Certificate is not good. Certificate. certificate. Wait a second, I just need to check what I've wrong. Certificate. I think I need to copy again the same certificate. Let's take it from here. No, it's actually, I do think that I had a typo there. Just reconnecting. Yeah, okay, now it's working. So actually, again, using this stolen token, okay, I've looked into the host file system under warlib kubelet pki, and yeah, I know that, again, I see the comments, but the PAM actually with the A, I know that I did it before a typo, and that's why I deliberately used PAM. So returning to this, so with if someone has the whole host file system in, and especially under warlib kubelet pki, there are these certificates here, certificate files, which actually contain not just the certificates, but also the private keys. So if I'm looking into this, okay, I do see that I got the elliptic curve private key here and the related certificate there. So if I taking it and parsing it, if I'm looking at what do I have inside, x509 in host PAM minus text, I think. Yeah, so I've parsed this file, and I do see that I do have a certificate which is good for the next 5 years. So if I'm taking away this certificate, and I can have a permanent permanent access for the next 5 years to this cluster from within, and obviously it's a good thing for the attacker to take. It has I can connect the control plane of Kubernetes and start to get everything you have in etcd for any type and manipulating it. So it's also a good thing to take away if something is wrong. And if I'm looking into the Falco logs, actually just in order to show that since I've been using this thing remotely, and also I haven't I haven't used a privileged pod here. I didn't get any notification from Falco about any suspicious activity here. And from my point of view, it's more or less a game over, okay, in this case. So just recapping this stuff. So we went from from doing initial penetration to the cluster using a front-end application, which was in my case it contained the malware. But just as it contained the malware, it could have a software vulnerability. So I think I saw last week a very interesting another video which was posted in the Slack in the Kubernetes security group, when someone did the same initial penetration using a well-known vulnerability in Drupal. But in our case, we used a malware, and we've packed the malware malware um, to connect it, and this malware was what we call pegged using a tool called Azuri. It's an open source tool, and it encrypts and decrypts the malware with in the RAM. So therefore, it is pretty stealth, and it's hard to detect. And when we connected this backdoor, we took the service account tokens for authentication from the pod, then started to use this service account token from here till the end in order to authenticate ourselves from outside the cluster using this token. We show that easily if you have access to the Cube API from the outside, you can start to obviously you can start to read secrets. You can start to bring up pods, and in our case, we brought up a pod and also taken from our pod. We used it to mount the host file system and taken the node certificate and private key. So let's go to some more to more questions. So I have a question from Walid. What would you do if you wanted to defend against this attack? So it's a very, very good question. Okay, so okay, now I obviously I have a problem with answering. Okay, because Armo is one my company is actually doing protections against such attacks. But obviously, one of the most important thing here is to be sure where you are taking your software updates from. Okay, supply chain is a very delicate thing, and obviously as not just from commercial point of view, but from as a community, we have to think of how we can better protect the supply chains, and how we can better look for such pegged malwares, and obviously taking versions where you have a pretty decent respect from the place where you have taken it, and also I do think that we need to improve our runtime detections. Obviously, I do feel that, although I understand why, but I do feel that it's not a good thing that you can authenticate using a service account from the outside of the public internet against the Cube API, and Cube API is not checking the source IP. Although again, I do think that I know that there is a design reason for that, but still I feel that there can be some improvement here. And obviously, just as well it said, RBUCs are and elevated pods are a problem. Yeah, and more questions. Yeah, so Paulo asked about this Drupal thing. I think that yeah, I'm going to post it. Yeah, it's here in the SIG security thread. It was posted. I'm writing it down. I'm going to try to share it afterward. More questions. For example, you cannot block API server within the enterprise, for example, unless we are using GitOps. Yeah, so it's also a good question, okay, that why Falco has not reported access to etc Kubernetes PK files. There is a good reason for that, because these files can be used legitimately. Also, the service account files can be used legitimately. Okay, so these are legit files which are accessed by some of the processes. Now the question is how you can differentiate between the good process and the bad process. Because obviously Kubelet is accessing the private key files, and within the pod also, maybe the application itself uses the service account. So it's pretty hard for Falco to not going into a lot not of false alerts here. Uh, um, yeah, I'm going to share with you also. Polo, where should we share everything? The every the the things we've just shown here.
Yeah, yeah. This show will is being recorded, and I invite everyone to join us in chats for CNCF, and of course invite Ben to be present in CNCF Slack, because there we can share other contents. And after all,
Yeah,
please put your Twitter account, because you can
yeah,
share the your git your git entry to people
yeah, sure.
can get your files, etc. It's so much important. Of course, again, everyone is welcome to be part of CNCF Slack community, and reach us there, and ask anything. Of course, I know that sometimes it's difficult to make questions. We have an audience from everywhere: YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn. It's amazing, but sometimes it's difficult to manage all questions, and at the same time answer everything and everyone be represented. So please, everyone, come on, reach us in CNCF Slack channels, and we'll be there to help. My entry point for Slack is like the Twitter I put here, and Ben
Yeah,
will put in you we will put the Ben entry here to from Twitter.
yeah. Paulo, can
Oh,
you put? I don't see how I can put in the chat my Twitter, and I yeah, I see it
yeah,
now. So
we will. Yes, and Libby, please put
yeah,
the
I will
yes,
put basic security now.
yes.
So everyone's welcome, to talk to me. I'm going to stay for at least for a half an hour to in the six security Slack. So I will be, happy to answer. And I hope this talk was interesting. It was fun for me. I hope it was, it gave you some interesting insights.
You show the Falco running. Falco is an amazing project. It's a project
Yes.
inside the SenseF landscape. Yesterday I was with Dan Pop, chatting, talking about Falco. Yes, really amazing. And it's what I can see here today was a set of best practices together with tools and questions, and what about the security, secure secure issues, when you can cops. Uh,
Oh, I think I've just
I have
lost you.
sorry.
Paulo?
Oh, lost
Yeah,
me. Yes.
I have some glitches in the sound.
Uh, I'm here. Oh my God! Again, the internet. Please, if you want, can send a cable for me. I will be amazing, because I'm lost every day, every time. My connection is terrible. Okay. Ben, I see. Can you hear me? No?
Yeah, I
Cambio?
do hear. Yeah,
Oh yes, oh good. Oh Ben, I saw many good best practices. Of course, you show the patterns when you have attacks, etc. Do you have an oh, I like libraries. I like reference. When I can read more about that, you have a your page, your armor has a blog that show
yeah.
more about the security. How can I learn more? Because learn it's difficult. It's amazing to see you're showing. You will watch again the show, but uh, we want to get something in the hands to read. What do you think? To have something that can show to us?
Yeah. So well, I really, I'm restarting my screen share. Um, Sorry, because I've just removed that. Share. Oh, but you don't see that. Yeah. Okay. So you have armosec.io, okay, our homepage, and you have here, our blog, um, which I really, tell you that you should, follow, and also on LinkedIn, we are publishing every week some interesting reading here. This thing about I haven't published about this remote service account token issue because I reported it just a week ago. So therefore I didn't want to make a big buzz around that. But obviously, I'm going to make you write up here in this blog, and will you can follow us here and read here, and also in our LinkedIn and Twitter accounts you can follow us.
Oh, great, thank you. Uh, the of course, again, I want to say you are ready to answer questions in offline. Of course, so you can where's the better place to to reach you, Ben? You are from your Twitter or from your our Slack? I prefer our Slack, CNCF, of course, because this is a
Slack.
community.
I'm on Slack. You're welcome to write me on Slack. I try to my most to to answer you on Slack, and if not, I'm when I open it, I'm sure I'm going to answer every questions. Also, I LinkedIn and Twitter. These are my main places where I publish, but Slack, if you want to discuss with me, and I love discussions about security and also about Kubernetes. So you're really welcome to connect me on Slack, Ben Hirschberg, and find me there.
Okay, excellent. And Armor has a Twitter account too.
Yeah, I do think, but I think that I'm not sure where is it. We'll post it here. Okay.
Okay,
Um,
okay, excellent, excellent.
but
Oh
we do
yes,
have a LinkedIn
yeah.
account which should
Okay,
be followed if someone's interested.
okay. You have a LinkedIn account. Okay, you can reach you in the LinkedIn too. Amazing. Uh, Ben, of course, was
Yeah.
amazing. Of course, was amazing. I don't have more questions here. Our valid asking that could not see any message related to what you said in the SIG sec. I suppose that is on SIG sec from Kubernetes or CNCF. What do you, Paulo? There is a Paolo, my friend from Italy, maybe because Paolo is Italy, and we can, of course, we can try this again another time. It's really show again other. Oh my God, failing again. Oh yes, come back. Sorry. Oh, that's the problem that living in some place where the telecommunications is very good. Is here in Brazil. Sometimes you have problem with telecommunications. Okay, our 4G is like 3G. Our 5G is like 2G sometimes. Okay, so was amazing. Break the things with you, Bian, and want to invite you again for next time. Talk more about security. Security is a point it's a DevSecOps. Security is a point very, very important for us, and we are increased that we can see the how much the battle, the attacks, the cyber attacks are growing in the world. We are doing every day when you open newspaper, you can see that someone have data breach or something else. My accounts
Yeah.
are breached many times. So really, really important this subject. And so I want to again to invite you to present for us. You can choose again this time and do a deep dive or another time to this. And of course, I want to invite you, Ben, and everyone from Armory and from the chat for our KubeCon Europe. You have a session for security, right? Cube Secure today will be amazing. My friend Ambassador Ricardo
It is
is doing a great job in the doing working the committee from this event. You will be there. You will be there, Ben.
no question. I'm going to be there. You know, I love KubeCon. It
Okay,
is it's
but
awesome.
but but we will participate in the KubeCon, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
hopefully.
excellent. We can reach you there. Okay. Oh, Ben, thank you so much for this show today. This show, we don't have more questions. I'm seeing your blog is amazing here. I open here. You have a container drip, another example of why HTTP basic authentication is flawed. It's
Yeah.
yours. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Good.
yeah. I mean, there we have interesting people, and you really should go in here and if you want to broaden your security mindset. These are really really good blogs because I think we do really have here a big opportunity when the industry is going to cloud and cloud native. We have a great opportunity to enhance our security, and it's just as you said, it's really important.
Yes, for sure. At the least, it's cloud native is a distributed computer, and you have microservices that is like a gremlin. You don't know what is gremlin, don't, because it's a film very old, like me.
I
But
do know.
microservices is a gremlin. Yes, every gremlin when you put some water, they transform in a
Yeah.
crazy, crazy destructor. So we can have care with security in many aspects. So thank you so much again. Dan was amazing. We will watch again your presentation because I want to learn more with you. Was amazing. I want to thank you for Armo that has uh, uh, give you opportunity to be here with us, and I want to thank you everyone. So guys, thank you for joining us at this last episode of the our this week in the Cloud Native. It's our live stream, the Cloud Native live stream. It's amazing, our Cloud Native TV. It was great to have you, Ben, with us, talk about security aspects of Kubernetes and break everything. And we also really loved the interaction and questions from the audience. Was amazing. We did not talk about the Big Mac recipe, but okay, I don't know. I eat a Big Mac today. Was amazing too. And we bring you the last Cloud Native code every Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Next week
Yeah.
we'll have someone very very good to present something amazing like Ben. Thank you, Ben, to joining us. Thank you,
Thank you
everyone,
very
to
much,
joining
guys.
us.
Thank you.
See
Bye,
you.
guys. See you.
Bye. See you the next week. Come on, the
Next.
same bad channel and the same bad time.
Yeah. Yeah.
See
Bye.
you. Thank